Now we are in the last topic of this unit 2, biomolecules. So the last biomolecule that we are going to see now is nucleic acids, which is the most important nucleic acid which holds all our genetic information. What is a nucleic acid? Nucleic acids are molecules that allow the organisms to transfer genetic information from one generation to the next generation. For example, the parent's traits and characters has to be transferred to the offspring. This is done with the help of this particular biomolecule, nucleic acid. These macromolecules store the genetic information that determines the traits and makes the protein synthesis possible. Two examples of nucleic acids include deoxyribonucleic acid, or commonly we call it as DNA, and the second one is ribonucleic acid, or the common name RNA. These biomolecules are composed of long strands of nucleotides held together by a strong bond called as covalent bonds. Nucleic acids can be found within the nucleus and cytoplasm of our cells. So now we will see what is the basic structure of a nucleic acid and how it is arranged and what are all the different types of nucleic acids. So this is the image of a nucleic acid monomer. Already we have studied the monomers of carbohydrates. We have seen the monomers of proteins, which is nothing but amino acids. Similarly, this particular structure is the nucleic acid monomer, which we call it as nucleotides. So nucleotides are basically composed of three parts. The first one is a nitrogenous base. So this particular position we call it as nitrogenous base because of the presence of a nitrogen group in it. The second one, it is a pentose sugar, or it's a 5-carbon sugar. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a 5-carbon sugar, which we call it as a pentose sugar. The third type of present in your nucleotide monomer is a phosphate group. So this is your phosphate group. So nucleic acids are composed of nucleotide monomers which are linked together. Now we will see in detail about this nucleotide monomer. So a nitrogenous base includes two things, a purine molecule and a pyrimidine molecule. So what's a purine and what's a pyrimidine? So this purine molecule is going to have two components. One is adenine and the other one is guanine. So in short we call it as A, and guanine in short we call it as G. Similarly, the pyrimidine molecules has three components, cytosine, thymine and uracil. In short we call it as C, T and U. So this is about nitrogenous base. We will see in detail about this when we are seeing about DNA and RNA. Similarly, in DNA, the 5-carbon sugar or this pentose sugar, it is deoxyribose, while ribose is the pentose sugar in RNA. So this is the main difference between this DNA and RNA, the sugar component. So deoxyribose means the same ribose sugar with a oxygen removed out. So that is deoxyribose. Nucleotides are linked together to form polynucleotide chains. They are joined to one another by a covalent bond between the phosphate of one group and the sugar of another group. These linkages are called as phosphodiester linkages. So this phosphodiester linkages acts as a backbone, or we call it as the sugar phosphate backbone of both the DNA and RNA. Why sugar phosphate backbone? As already mentioned, so phosphate of one group is going to join with the sugar of another group. That's why the another name sugar phosphate backbone. So this phosphodiester linkage is very important to hold this nucleotide chain stronger. Similar to what happens with protein and carbohydrate monomers, nucleotides are linked together through the dehydration synthesis. In nucleic acid dehydration synthesis, the nitrogenous bases are joined together and a water molecule is lost in this particular process. Interestingly, some nucleotides perform important cellular functions as individual molecules. The most common example being ATP. Yes, ATP is also a nucleic acid. So ATP is adenosine triphosphate, okay, which is produced inside our cells. Each and every cell is supplemented with this particular energy molecule ATP. So this is the brief introduction about nucleic acid. Now we will see what is a DNA, what is a RNA, and what is the difference between this DNA and RNA in the upcoming videos. Thank you.